During the winter break, I started working on my game called Project Polly that had remained untouched since the last time I was at school. But there was a problem. Past me was terrible at writing code. So I decided, instead of trying to pick up where I left off, I'd benefit more from starting over entirely so I could rewrite my code and also document the entire process from the beginning. With clear ideas for game mechanics and a story in mind, and the old Unity project which I could refer back to, I could get to work straight away. The first thing I re-implemented was the movement system, which didn't change much from the old version. In Unity, physics-based movement can be slidey and uncontrollable, so I added a force which cancels out momentum to make the player decelerate faster. However, the gameplay of Project Polly is based largely on momentum, so the force is not applied while in the air to allow the player to build speed and encourage them to stay off the ground. To check if the player is on the ground and whether or not they should be able to jump, instead of using a raycast or collider like most tutorials teach, I used Unity's collision system to work out the angle of a given contact point. This is checked against a maximum slope tolerance, which determines whether the player is touching the floor or a wall. If the player is standing on uneven ground, the direction that the player will jump is the average slope of the ground. When the player tries to move up or down while airborne, a small force is applied in that direction to make them fall slower or faster. The player has two ability slots, though since the ability system is based on Timber's tutorial, it can easily be expanded. Currently there are two abilities, a dash, which applies a force in the direction of the mouse, and a grappling hook, which is from Danny Dev's tutorial, but tweaked to be able to affect rigid bodies. The camera system uses Cinemachine and an additional script to add some more capabilities, like tilt with the player when they spin, zoom out at high speeds, and flip when the gravity changes. More on that in a future video. These make the game slightly more immersive, but may make it harder for the player to aim properly, which I'll leave for future me to solve. This is the first video on this channel, and the first devlog. For the ones that were here before I rebranded, my new content will be about game dev, especially tutorials and devlogs about Project Polly. If you want to see the gaming content that I made before, you can check out my other channel, which will be linked in the description and the end screener. That's gonna show up now because this is the end of the video. I don't know how to do outros.